Hello, Mercy Church. Pastor Tim here. Thanks for tuning in. And today is day 5 and our final day in our devotional series entitled The Beauty of Jesus. Again, the idea is listen to a devotional thought, have a prayer moment at the end, and then watch and listen to the music that comes in the next video. And all that put together, we hope will draw you to a place of seeing the beauty of Jesus more and more. And that'll draw you to a place of worship. Today, we're going to be in the Gospel of Matthew and chapter 15. And I'm going to give you a heads up. It's just a couple verses, but there's some real strong words that Jesus is going to share here. So in chapter 15, Jesus is talking to these religious leaders, and he's challenging them because they're so caught up in these ways that are far from God. They're about external performance and following up these laws that they've made up and sort of following God's law here and there. But overall, they're not following the ways of God at a heart and soul level. Listen to these words from Jesus. In Matthew chapter 15, verse 7, he says, "You hypocrites, Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you." And then he quotes Isaiah and says this, "These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules." I want to focus really on verse 8 where he says, they worship me with their lips. They honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Jesus right here is calling out the religious leaders, but it's a challenge and a call to us as well. Not just to say the right things, not just to perform externally in the right way, but he wants our hearts to be close to him. Now think about this. This is Jesus quoting Isaiah, and Isaiah says their hearts are far from me. Well, what's the opposite? It's a heart that's close to him. Jesus wants a heart that is nearby to him, a heart that it's getting the soul level truth of what he's trying to say. We're not people who are just saying, well, I'm following the rules, I'm checking the boxes, I'm acting like a good person, but inside, my heart is dead. My heart has no passion for Christ. It has no compassion on others. That's a soul, heart, gut level check that Jesus is bringing to the religious leaders and to you and me as well. Now, as you hear that, if you're the type of person who immediately goes to guilt and you're like, man, I'm not doing enough, the fact that your heart would be tender enough to hear these words and to go, oh, I want my heart to be closer to Jesus, you're the type of person he would say, come near to me, come close to me. Your heart is tender. If you hear these words and you go, I'm doing great, my heart is close to Jesus, I'm always doing well, then let us be cautious, because the heart that draws near to God is a heart that realizes the enormity and the holiness and the perfection of God and our own weakness and sin and frailty. And so that should bring us to a place of humility. God is looking for people who have a humility in their heart, that deep in their soul, they're saying, I know I can do better, God, and I know I want to pursue you more. Help me, God. He stands against those who are proud, who think I've got it all together, because central to the Christian message is the gospel, and the gospel demands that we say, I can't do it on my own. So let us not be like the Pharisees, but let us be tender-hearted, realizing that we need God desperately. That's the type of person Jesus looks at and says, come to me, because your heart is open. I'll bring transformation and goodness into you. May we be humble before him. And so as you pray, my encouragement, my challenge to you is just to lay your heart before God. Is to say, God, here are the areas where I'm performing, and I know you're not about performance, God. Be honest with him and confess that to him. And also in the areas where you feel frailty and weakness, say, God, I struggle here. Would you meet me in that brokenness? God loves a humble heart. And so bring those prayers to God and watch how he'll engage with you with his love, his grace, and his mercy.